Bloom News Brief. More info at fullandbloom.com. In a brand new interview with Stereogum, singer Ozzy Osbourne talked about his new album, Black Sabbath, Randy Rhoads, and Jakey Lee. A link to the entire interview can be found in the description. On reuniting with Black Sabbath in 1985 at Live Aid, Ozzy said, "They were managed by my father-in-law, and my father-in-law and my wife and I were in a fucking war. I was fucking served a lawsuit at Live Aid by my father-in-law for interference or some bullshit, and nothing ever materialized from it. And I was drinking lots of fucking booze in them days, and I was bloated. It was not a great experience. It was more like, I'll have my revenge on them." Or no, it wasn't revenge. It was just the first time I had seen them all since the breakup. It was not a life-shattering experience where I went, fuck, why did I go and get fired and all this shit? By that time, I had felt freedom as well. Whereas with Sabbath, I didn't feel that important in the band. I used to feel I was just a sideman for their show. I'd come up with my own melodies and all that, but I didn't feel on an equal part with them because I couldn't play an instrument. But that was a long time ago, and when you start thinking about this shit now, it doesn't seem necessary anymore, does it? When asked about Dana Strum, Ozzy said, "He was the one who brought Randy. I'd never formed a band of people around me, and I'd never auditioned anyone. I didn't know how to audition. I was in an apartment not far off the Santa Monica freeway, and he brought Randy around when I was fucking 3 sheets to the wind. I'd been drinking all day. I'm done. I've had enough of this." And this little guy came in, and I thought he was a girl at first. He was such a tiny guy. I said, "Fucking hell, I'm done. I've had enough of this. I want to go home now. I thought it's never going to work." And Dana said, "Just see this one last guitar player." I was fucked up. I said, "I want to go home. Bring him back tomorrow and I'll see him." And I was still fucked up the next day. I went to this studio and I didn't know where the fuck this studio was. Randy shows up with this little amp and white Les Paul and he says, "What do you want me to play?" I said, "Whatever the fuck, I don't care." So he started playing and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" Even in my stupor, I put it to him this way: "I don't know if you're as good as I think you are, but I'll see you tomorrow." So the next day when I was sober, he blew my fucking mind off. He just blew my mind. He was fucking unbelievable. The one thing about Randy Rhoads that I'm forever grateful for is he spent time with me. He didn't sit in the recording booth and give me some melody to do over what he played, regardless of whether I could do it on stage or not. Then you would get this stuff that you couldn't do on stage. But he would say, "It would be better if you could sing it in this key." He was very patient. Stereogum said, "Jakey Lee and Gus G don't get talked about quite as often, but they're also incredible guitarists. What is it with you about having great guitarists by your side?" Ozzy said, "When you've got a crap one, the band is crap. But when you've got someone who shines..." Jakey Lee was a fucking great guitar player, and the way it went was, Randy Castillo, my old drummer, had started to turn against him. It was very sad because I had no qualms with the guy. He was a great guitar player. During a 2018 interview with the Metal Voice, Jakey Lee said it was former Ozzy bassist Phil Soussan who led to him being fired. Lee said, "It was a combination of reasons. First, me and Ozzy never clicked on a personal level. There was never any conflict or arguments, but we never bonded or clicked on a personal level. Ozzy did not get my sense of humor. It was very dry and sarcastic. Second, me and Phil Soussan did not have a good relationship. Also, when we were writing for the third record, I felt a little constrained musically because there were parameters you have to write in for it to fit with Ozzy. And basically it has to be metal, and I was getting a little bored with that. I was trying to push it musically. Lastly, I know at the same time Randy Castillo told me that Phil wanted to be the main songwriter because the song Shot in the Dark that he wrote was the big hit on The Ultimate Sin. Phil Soussan was whispering in Ozzy's ear, "We don't need Jake. We'll just write a bunch of hits now." As far as Phil is concerned, I know he was partially instrumental in getting me fired. He lasted in the band after I was out, maybe 3 months before he got fired. I saved his ass prior twice on tour because of his stage antics. And Ozzy wanted to fire him, and I talked Ozzy out of it. So the fact that Phil helped me get fired in the end, and then only lasted a couple of months, karma. Karma, motherfucker. A link to the entire interview can be found in the description. More news at fullandbloom.com.